its wings tattered and shredded, slicing across the air. A black and red smudge is all that is reported. Where does it come from? Not a soul even knows. Those that did still don't have a soul. What does it want? All we know is that it wants to feed, and that anyone that meets it is already dead. Hey guys, and welcome today as we discuss a possible theory for Monster Hunter Sunbreak, the expansion of Master Rank into Monster Hunter Rise for the Nintendo Switch. This theory is about about the flagship monster for the expansion, Malzeno, and how it possibly could have been affecting the plot of Monster Hunter Rise in the shadows. Right, so as we know, Malzeno is an Elder Dragon, and he will be the flagship of Monster Hunter Sunbreak, the Master Rank expansion for Monster Hunter Rise. This monster, as we've seen from the trailers, is based on a vampire, which all new monsters from Sunbreak will be based upon a mythological or a folktale story based in European areas. So in this case, Malzeno is based on a vampire or possibly Dracula itself. Um and so within the trailer it made its debut within. We saw it attack Rathalos, and when it attacked Rathalos, we heard the sucking of blood. Right. And so this gives off the impression that Malzeno has the ability to possibly suck blood out of monsters. This here is a very unique thing because we've seen some monsters suck blood out of other monsters, but we've never seen it done in a main series game, I believe. And I have a possible and a very interesting theory as to how Malzeno was behind the plot of Monster Hunter Rise in the very beginning. Right, so the theory goes like this. Maybe Ibushi and Nawa's kids don't stay alive long enough because Malzeno eats them. Right, hold on. Yes, this does sound really weird, right? And it's a unique concept of a theory. But think about this, right? It makes sense when you think of it this way. They produced offspring many times beforehand, right? Because this isn't the first time they are meeting up to mate again. And during Hinoue Minoto's impairments of them as those two monsters, they always say how they're going to basically destroy the world and take over it, whatever, right? But think of it like this, right? Because their plan is like that, it means they've done this multiple times before, and it's also stated that they have done it before, right? So whenever they produce their offspring, Malzeno could just come in and just kill the kids, right? It could just suck the blood out of the kids. The reason why is because when you yourself is fighting Nawa and you are about to kill Nawa, an Elder Dragon or Magna Marlowe comes in and helps you, right? They know that Nawa's kids are will impact the ecosystem and effectively destroy it, as they will just run random. But this is the thing here, right? Think of it like this. Ibushi and Nawa give birth, right? Well, Nawa gives birth, not Ibushi. But Nawa gives birth. Malzeno feeds on the kids after Ibushi leaves and Nawa is weakened after giving birth, because then it's a fair fight. And during that time, Malzeno can just suck the blood out from the kids. But because in our case when we fight Nawa, it's like this. Nawa tries to give birth. We fight her and stop her from giving birth with the help of another monster. Malzeno has no food to eat, so he ends up feeding off the ecosystem, right? Because he feeds off of the ecosystem, because there's no main source of food to eat from Nawa's kids, as all Elder Dragons know, that they will basically destroy the ecosystem that they all live within. He feeds off of other monsters. This could possibly make sense as when you look at the apex monsters in Monster Hunter Rise, they could be blood corrupted monsters from Malzeno. because in the trailer of Malzeno's trailer, or the trailer for Sunbreak itself, it shows Malzeno like giving off red energy around it. And when you go and look at the Apex monsters, they have like red energy glistening off of them, and they've also got red veins, that's like red empowerings on them, like digged into their body. Maybe those scars themselves are from Malzeno's doing. From when he sucks their blood, he could protect. He could effectively, because he's a vampire, he could turn them into, in quotation marks, vampires himself. Because then they would just be actual different standard deviants and not just rip off of other devious monsters. And that's why they picked monsters that have deviants, because it's the only spin-off of of a Monster Hunter title that they used ready-made models, so that they didn't have to make new kits for the existing or new monsters, if that makes sense. Like, the corrupted blood could literally just be a difference between deviant and apex, as like, think of like Gulmagala, like how it gave the frenzy virus to monsters. They weren't different monsters. They were just the same monsters, what were just empowered. They were just empowered by the frenzy virus. In this case, it would be Malzeno's corrupted blood causing that effect on top of those monsters. So after he sucks their blood and feeds on them, he could effectively give off like a virus or something, because a vampire itself, after sucking blood from someone, can turn them also into a vampire. That there is just a simple theory that like just comes into my head right now, but like it makes sense when you sit and think about it. Right, and back to the trailer now. When we saw Malzeno attack Rathalos, we heard the sound of sucking blood. We know that Rathalos itself has an Apex variant. Why would they show Malzeno attack specifically Rathalos? Yes, I do know Rathalos and Rathian are like the main monsters. They are like, they're like the Pikachu of Monster Hunter itself, right? So why would it attack that first? When you sit down and think about it, Rathalos has an Apex variant, Apex Rathalos, right? When it attacked Rathalos, we saw the reds, like the red aura, like the red little, like, balls, like coming off of it, right? And so maybe, as I brought up before, like when Malzeno sucks blood out of a monster, it in turn turns it into an apex monster. When you sit down and think about it, like everything I've showed off to you, it makes sense. One, Malzeno has just appeared like out of nowhere. Two, Malzeno has the ability to suck out blood, and vampires, when they, like, he's based on a vampire, so when a vampire sucks blood out of someone, they can turn those people into vampires, which makes sense because when you look at the apex monsters, they're more powerful than a normal variant of that monster, and they've got like red scarring and like red flowing aura around them. So for all we could know, like, you see like like Malzeno's tail, he could have just clamped down on them, causing like those red scarrings, and then he could have just sucked the blood from them there and there. In his trailer, he attacks a Rathalos, turning it into an Apex Rathalos, possibly. When you fight Nawa and Ibushi, an Elder Dragon or a creature on par with it comes down and helps you defeat Nawa, because it knows it will mess with the ecosystem if it actually does, if its plan does succeed at the end of the day. Malzeno could just be there to clean up after the messes of Nawa and Ibushi. We've known that like the rampages were caused by these two, and it's a perfect excuse as to why Malzeno is here. And the excuse as to why he's here is so he can finally feed on them. At the end of the day, this is just a theory. So please, if you did enjoy, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Drop your own personal theories in the comment section. And with that, peace out. Have a good day.